Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Martians and aliens. We're not speciesists on this channel. Everybody's welcome. My name's Alan, and welcome to Mars, the second Genesis. Okay guys, this is the panorama we are going to be looking at today. I shall pan through it and let you have a look at the overall panorama. It is from Sol 182 and it was captured by the left and right mast cams. So guys, as usual, I will put the link in the description where you can download all the images used in this video and you can view them for yourself. I'd recommend you to download Stereo Photo Maker. That's the program I'm using to present the video, and we'll put the link in the description where you can download that as well. Oh, and it's free. For our first anomaly is this one. Strange looking thing. Almost looks a bit like a dolphin. There's some non-fractal shapes in this. I think it's a piece of something mechanical. There's some mechanical stuff here sticking off. But if you look at this here, and that's clearly not natural. And we've got this gear looking thing. I'm not saying it is a gear, it just looks that way. We've got this hole at the side. I'll zoom in a wee bit and give you a better look. I know it's a bit fuzzy, but we can blame NASA for that. So here we have these non-fractal shapes. And it's clearly not natural. And we've got this mechanical looking stuff. At first I thought that was a wee man. That's his head, his arms and his legs hanging off the side of a giant dolphin. But on closer inspection, looking at it, it does look mechanical. Could be a structure with a wee man hanging off it. No, I'm only kidding. It definitely does not conform to what we would consider as a natural object. So let's take a wee look at the same thing, only darkened. There's a lot more detail. We can see the gear at the bottom. and it's got a wee, maybe a bolt or a rivet holding it on. And if you look here, you can see lines, which are clearly rocks don't come like that. And we can see this as some sort of hole that may have been drilled into it. You can see the wee man object. Obviously we can see it's mechanical, it's not a man. We didn't see in the light version, but if you look here, you can actually see that's like a flat face there. And you can clearly see the snout and the non-fractal lines. I'll zoom in and let you see, let you examine it for yourself. Now the front, we'll call it a snout, has got some markings on it. And we can see at the top, some more of the detail has been brought back. And we can see this curve here. Very faint. Now looking at that, you wouldn't be wrong in assuming it could be a sculpture, could be a structure, could be something mechanical. But what it is not is a rock. Okay, for our second anomaly, this is another weird one. It's definitely non-fractal. I mean, look at that. Dave from Mars X3D, the evidence channel, would have a field day with this one. Look at these non-fractal lines. It doesn't come any better than that, guys. That piece there is like a half hex, and we've got these sharp angles at the back. It's as weird as it comes. No idea what it could be. I would say it's maybe the top of your structure. Could be a sculpture. No idea the size as well. And just to be thorough, we'll look at the dark version as well. And we can clearly see all the angles. What's interesting is at the back, this doesn't look like normal rocks either, guys, does it? It certainly doesn't look like something you want to sit in, that's for sure. Pretty unique and weird piece of alien shit. Okay, for our third anomaly is this debris field, whatever it is. What I'll do is I'll just zoom in and pan through it for you. And you can have a look for yourselves. Our main anomaly is at the back. That's here. Let's take one thing at a time. If you look at the front, you can see straight lines, straight angles. And you can see it comes down like that. That's not natural. If we look at this piece, we can see it's maybe something mechanical. Maybe something structural. And here as well. And if we look at this odd looking thing, we can see all these markings. Look at the top here as well. And all the markings on it. That doesn't look natural. But let's take a wee look at the back, shall we? I'll zoom out a wee bit so you don't get a sore head. If you look at this part here, you can clearly see there's some architectural detail. And we've got architectural detail there. And we've got this piece coming straight down. You know the way I love my roofs. And if that's not a roof, I don't know what is. I mean, look at it. Look at the angles and the way that curves round. And there's some architectural detail and a wall coming down. And if we look at the back here, it looks as if there's some more roofs. mean, we see this all over where Percy is. What can I say? I think it's a bunch of structures. So, to be thorough again, we'll take a wee look at the dark version. Now, you can clearly see all the markings and the lines on this, which I think is a structure. And very clear. You can see this piece is a clear corner. Some framing coming out of it. And this here. Now, this part looks hollow. And if you look in the background, look at this. These are roofs. So, all in all, guys, I would say this is structures. That to me looks pretty intact. If you stand them up and think of them as structures, they are pretty intact. If you think about it, it doesn't matter where you are in the universe. If you're building a structure, you're really going to want it to be level and plumb, because if it's not, it's going to be a nightmare to build a structure. One of the things you should be looking for when you're looking for structural items is look for parallel lines that run in the same plane, horizontal lines or vertical. And that's a good indication that they could be structures, unless of course like these have fallen down. But that is a pretty good indication that these here are structures. For our next anomaly is this strange looking thing. Now I believe this is the top of a structure. And you know the way I like my Art Nouveau? Let's zoom in and we'll pan through it. The thing that caught my eye is this here. So let's look at it a little bit closer, shall we? Now if you look, the way that comes down and then goes in, and look at this here, we seem to have two parallel arcs here. And we've got some markings at the top. We've got some markings here, which looks like architectural detail, and the same here. I'll show you it in the dark, and the lines really pop out. You can clearly see the route this goes. It goes below. And this looks as if it comes in. This actually looks as if it goes below that and then comes out. And this looks as if it's a 90-degree angle here. We've got this here. And you can see the way all these markings and architectural detail flows. This is an arc. We've got a straight line here. And these pieces here. There's not enough resolution to see exactly what these really are. But you can clearly see that's not a rock. It's clearly some sort of intelligently made structure or sculpture or whatever it is. And if you look at this piece at the back, the way it arcs. Now this one is really, really cool. This, I believe, is a structure. Let's zoom in and I shall pan through it for you. Okay, may as well start here. We can see some markings here at the back. Here as well. We've got this thing here. This here. I believe these two were at one time together. If you look here, the way that line flows, we've got an arc here. And I'd like to draw your attention to the sand. We'll see this a lot better in the dark version. But I'd like to just give a wee look into the shadows. So we've got this, almost looks like a hood, and this part sticking out. We've got another sort of hood here, and these look symmetrical. We've got this. We've got these two parallel pieces here that look the same. We've got this here. It looks sort of sculpted. Well, not sort of sculpted, it is sculpted. And we've got this part here, again, sculpted. And we've got this on the front, which looks sculpted as well. And we can see it looks like brickwork under there. Okay, enough of this. Let's look at the darker version because you can see it all a lot better. Let's start at the back. And you can see all the lines popping out. I'd like to take a wee close look at these lines. Look at the way it is interwoven. It reminds me of Celtic art. I'm not saying it is Celtic art, but that's the way Celtic art sort of looks. I'm from Scotland, and you probably worked that one out for yourself, judging by my Scottish accent. We've got a lot of Celtic art here, because it sort of originated with Scotland. I don't know a lot about the history of Celtic art, but I know what it looks like. We can see at the top here, have a wee look at that. I mean, how can anybody mistake that as a rock? Well, NASA? They think everything's rock. And we can see markings here. That definitely looks like sort of Celtic art. I don't know what to make of this thing at the front, but you can clearly see it's part of this. Now, you know how I was saying about the sand? Well, look at that, guys. We get two perfectly parallel lines. I don't think that's sand. And we've got a 90-degree intersecting bit. And we can obviously see these are part of whatever's below the sand. And if you look at this here, you can see the architectural detail. This here. Look at the way that curves. I just think Martian architecture's quite sexy, just like myself. I know what you're thinking, there's something wrong with that guy. Well, nobody's ever accused me of being sane. And you can see here, looks like a wee cube with holes drilled through it. That's maybe a wee Martian nightlight. You can see a lot more of the architectural detail there, the way that comes straight down. It's actually really beautiful. And look at this up here. You can't see this sort of detail in the lighter version. You can't see the shadows in the darker version. That's how I like to show both. Look at the front of this. I might be imagining things, guys, but does that not look like a Martian-type walrus creature to you, complete with tusks and whiskers? See this here, and that part there? I think they're joined. Because you can see the line that flows right down and sort of round. We'll get this line here that curves round. So I believe these are the openings. These may be canopies overhanging where the door is, or windows. I mean, they almost look like roofs. And then we have this series of anomalies. So start at this side. So guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump on the dark version here, because I think you can see a damn sight more with the dark version. As you can see, we've got this here. Look the way we've got two parallel arcs here. That looks like a wee roof sticking up, or a part of a window. We have this here, and these bits. This is one main anomaly. Now, if you look at the way that line arcs round, so these elongated holes, these two stop. Where they stop, if you look at the bottoms, if you imagine a line across them and curving round, it flows. The same here. Got this line. We'll have this here. We'll get this thing, whatever it is. Look at the shape of this here. This part here at the back. Just look at how it's shaped. Is it a structure or is it a sculpture? It could be either or maybe their structures are sculptures. We've got these bits at the back here. I believe this is the top of another structure. And if you look at the back here, we've got all these parallel straight lines. So I think they're roofs. If you look at them all, they're all on the same line of axis. Tells me they're structures. And we've got this series of, I would say they're structures, guys. You know me. So I've lightened it up quite a lot so you can see what's lurking in the shadows. Maybe there's some wee creature lurking in the shadows ready to jump out and eat you. Well, I'll just pan through it. Look at the lines of symmetry here. We shall jump onto the dark version. So what have we got? I'll give you 3 guesses, guys, but you'll only need one. I would say it's a structure. Look at all the markings, the curves. We've got these lines here. This part here. A wee dome looking thing there. I mean, they're all sculpted. That's cut down the centre. These 2 bits look symmetrical, and you've got these 2 dome-looking bits. Look at the way these are all parallel. We've got this bit here. Just the organic shapes. Now look at the way that curves round like that. That's not natural. We've got roof-looking things here. So if that's sand, they've mapped that sand to what was there to break it up to make it look like different objects. But they're all part of the same thing. You can see they're all joined. That's the beauty of the dark versions.